Hi, welcome to the Stereoscope podcast number 14. All right, I'm Byron.
I'm Sean.
I'm Anthony.
All right, so we have so much to cover today because AWE was a few weeks ago, and there was a ton of news around that. There was also Worldwide Developer Conference from Apple, and Google had their I/O, and they announced Android XR, or it elaborated on it. And so there's just a ton to get into this week. But it's some cool stuff. There's a lot of really interesting sort of... the industry seems to be hitting a really mature stride at this point.
Yeah. Despite several reports of VR dying again and again and again.
And again and again.
All these companies who, they're all investing.
Well, it seems like XR is now the thing that everybody's calling it. Like VR is the foundation, but XR is really what I think a lot of these companies are taking seriously now.
It seems to be like more likely to be the next smartphone in terms of like the volume of adoption.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can wear them.
Agreed.
They're more of an accessory, but we'll also see how they evolve too.
Begun the smart glasses wars have.
Yes, finally, we can proceed with our plans. Also, XR is like the only thing I can hear. Like when I talk about VR, XR, MXR, XR is the thing that people. What's XR? Is it like X? Like is it because Twitter?
Yeah,
I'm like
no.
No.
When you say VR, people just sort of like roll their eyes at this point, which I think is absurd.
But when you say XR, they go.
They're like, yeah, what is that?
XR is new and fresh.
Yeah,
fresh.
Whatever.
We've had VR since the 80s. 60s.
Same great taste.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny labeling and marketing and all this. It's the human psychology. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's the same old battery acid, right? But
that being said, let's launch into it. All right. So this one, it just dropped a couple days ago. It had sort of been leaked, but this dropped yesterday. And this is that Meta and Microsoft / Xbox have teamed up to make an officially branded Xbox Meta Quest 3S that is it's black. It has Xbox like green coloring to it, and it comes in the box with an Xbox controller and 3 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So this is not a particularly well-kept secret. This leaked like over a year ago, and is pretty much exactly what I expected it to be. However, this is not really new. I've actually used Xbox cloud streaming because this is what this is. It's Xbox cloud streaming, which they used to call xCloud, that you run in either a window or a virtual environment on your Quest 3, and then you play games over the internet using the controller. So these are not VR games.
Right. In layperson's terms, it's like a monitor that goes directly to
That's exactly what it is. It's a virtual monitor that goes directly to
your
Microsoft servers.
Yeah.
And then with a decent to good amount of latency, you play over the internet.
Like you don't need an Xbox. You got the controller.
You don't need an Xbox.
It goes straight to your.
I mean, this is effectively like you're just getting. You could do this on your smartphone. You can do it on like a Logitech G Cloud or Steam Deck. But the thing that I've noticed, I've used this actually. In fact, I've used it quite a bit
on your PC
because it's been available on Quest for over a year. Because the Wi-Fi antennas on the headsets are so good, because for like PC VR streaming and that type of thing, it gets latency really low. Huge caveat here. You have to have a good wireless environment in your home.
Yeah, like a Prism XR or just like a brand new router. You can't have something that
you have to have a good router with
router
with minimum, I would say minimum Wi-Fi 5.
Yeah, or 5.5 or whatever the in between.
Yeah.
Like it's something right before 6.
I would recommend a 6E router because
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. The Wi-Fi 6E is the best price versus performance ratio right now. And Wi-Fi 7 is still not super available yet.
Yeah.
It's still really expensive.
But
But
you can't hotspot.
here's the thing is that when it works well, it works incredibly well, especially with pass-through, and especially you get like immersive sounds and you get a giant screen. My only thing is that like compression artifacts are definitely a thing. It's going to look worse than if you just played on a real screen.
Yeah.
But it allows you to sort of take your screen anywhere, or if and this is the use case in my home is when the main television is being used, I can be in the same room with my family and be playing games, but still, present.
Yeah. You're there. You're there for them.
Huge caveat there. But I enjoy it. I also use GeForce Now in sort of a similar capacity.
You use GeForce instead of Xbox?
Yeah, so GeForce Now recently officially started supporting Quest devices as well as Apple Vision Pro.
Get out of here.
And GeForce Now has better latency and better video quality. But it's not an all-in thing. Here's the thing, though, is that this is a Quest 3, so...
Quest 3S.
Oh, sorry, this is the Quest 3S, so it doesn't have as good of lenses as the Quest 3. So, like, I find that the Quest 3 is more of a video watching device because it's more clear from edge to edge.
Yeah.
And just generally has better lenses and panels. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this is still pretty decent. It's $400. Comes with for everything that you're getting in the box. I think it's maybe a little overpriced because I mean you can get the Quest 3S is already dropped down to like $280 regularly. I mean it's not a permanent price point.
$280?
Oh yeah. So
in the year
a couple
25
weeks ago there was a sale on Quest 3S for $279.99.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic price for that device.
But the whole Game Pass thing works on the 3 as well. This is just a special
Yeah,
edition.
yeah. It carries over from whatever device you have.
So it's like, how much is that?
And that's the cool thing about
Xbox
Game Pass is that
you're buying an
you can
Xbox.
use it on any device and your saves carry over, which is
I mean, it's
perfect.
It seems like it's appealing. Like it would be both appealing to really casual gamers and extra serious gamers, but maybe nothing in between.
It really does fit both playstyles because like I'm weirdly both of those things. I used to be a very hardcore gamer, but I don't have the time to game as much as I used to. And so the ability to just like jump between device to device, whatever device is more convenient at that point, it really is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, for somebody like me, a filthy casual, I don't want to buy an Xbox.
Exactly.
So then
you don't want another
problem solved. It's like yet another device I'm probably not going to use, but I am using my headset. So I like
the cool thing is that like, for $15 a month, you can stream, you can play on your PC, you can do all sorts of things, or you can just do PC Game Pass, which is a little bit less. However, PC Game Pass does not. If you have PC Game Pass, you won't be able to use this because it requires Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which adds the streaming tier to it.
So that's what I was getting at. I'm somewhere in between where I neither have or want a PlayStation or Xbox, don't have a PC, but have a Quest 3. But I don't have an Ultimate Xbox subscription. But I do have an Xbox controller. And what I want is for them to be generous and pass it down so that if you just have the basics
Do you own any like Steam games or anything like that?
Yes, I do. And they're locked away.
Well, they have to be if you use GeForce Now.
That's true, but I would need a PC in order to do that.
No, you wouldn't.
Wait. What?
Yeah, because GeForce Now is pretty much exactly like Xbox Game Pass, like streaming, but for PC games. It's only for select games. So like, about 70% of the games that of games available on Steam are available on GeForce Now, or at least modern games.
Yeah, that's an incremental improvement for me.
Like Half-Life.
few,
All the Half-Life
yeah,
games are on
yeah.
there.
The tops. Yeah.
Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
Most of the Xbox Game Pass games. So I use Xbox Game Pass in conjunction with GeForce Now, and I don't subscribe to the Ultimate because it offers better performance and visual quality and latency. So there's also that alternative. Yeah. Anyways, this is interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sort of a weird thing. I mean, we're getting to this point where like a lot of people are going to be confused by this because they're going to be like, oh, I can play my Xbox games in VR. No, I mean, you can play them in VR. They are not VR games.
Yeah.
They are still in.
Mind you, this gets back into the Deckard thing that we were talking about a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Where like an auto stereoscopic mode would be really interesting. Like if Xbox is able to sort of do that type of thing, they're not going to. It's not part of their strategy. Yeah. But you could do that with Steam. Supposedly, there are rumors. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, whatever keeps people buying headsets and keeps moving the industry forward.
Yeah, and
it's another
also,
value add.
It's another value add, exactly. It gives you more stuff to do, and I personally think that more passive entertainment is really important for VR because at the end of the day, I don't like flapping my arms around a lot unless that's something that I'm like explicitly doing. And the immersive element for VR, in some ways lends itself more to a passive experience than being in a virtual world all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Angry Birds.
I mean, that is a very
no more Angry Birds.
Controversial statement. However, there are a lot of people who are just like, yeah, I want to be jacked in. Put me in VR chat all the time. I want every single part of my body represented in 3D, and I'm just like, I don't have the time for that.
And I think that's going to be truer of a larger, like more mainstream.
Absolutely,
audience,
and especially
right?
with. And then the other thing is that there's going to be an audience that grew up with VR that eventually is just like, I just want to watch an immersive movie or play my games immersively.
Yeah.
And especially as the headsets like scale down, we're going to have more options for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to want to, this is value added matrix, right? Like you want to get away from
Diet
everything.
Matrix.
Diet Matrix. Yeah. Diet Matrix.
When you only want to jack in for 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Crystal Matrix or Matrix Crystal.
Full dive. How about half dive?
Half dive.
All right, moving on. So this one is very interesting. There's not a lot of information about it totally, but it is definitely relevant for this channel and our audience.
Yes, for the handmaids.
So, what this is that Meta is looking at joining forces with Disney and A24 to make immersive content for the Meta devices. I think this is a very long time coming. They probably should have done this years ago. However, some of the creators in the audience who have been around in the immersive industry for a while remember that this actually already happened about 10 years ago.
What do you mean?
So
was A24 around 10 years ago? Was Disney around 10 years ago?
Disney?
A24 was definitely around 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It just wasn't what we think of as A24.
Still a baby.
Yeah. So Disney actually got into the immersive video industry about 10 years ago and invested in a bunch of content. Most of that content was made for Samsung Gear VR, and it flopped incredibly hard. It did not have the audience because the audience didn't exist yet, and was really underwhelming because best practices hadn't really been figured out, and let's just be honest, those devices were not capable of
Yeah.
representing immersive video in any way that was a good experience.
Yeah. This is basically the danger of hype cycles, right?
Absolutely.
Because this was like super, super hype, but the hardware was not there yet.
That is exactly why this took so long.
Yeah.
Is because it wasn't just Disney. There were a bunch of other companies that got in and put in millions and millions and millions of dollars to immersive video, which was not called that back then.
Yeah.
And they got burned hard, and they just absolutely exited the space.
Yeah. It stinks because it encourages this like lack of long-term thinking in all industries, but tech in general, like where it's like, well, we got to hype. It's hyped up now. Let's do it now. Oh, it failed. Let's remove all of it. Let's burn it all to the ground. And then now we're back on the cycle of like, okay, let's put it back. And Google's like, let's put all the stuff back that we used
Let's
to have.
find out the pieces where Noah left his boat.
Exactly.
And be like, it's supposed to look like this, but this time let's go to our cousin A24, who has begat a lot of really amazing films, not all of them great, and get our old buddy Disney, who's been living in the cave since we deposited the twins on Tatooine.
So supposedly,
to work together.
And so Upload VR is reporting that their Meta is offering them millions of dollars to provide episodic and standalone immersive video content, and that
Millions of dollars
targeted for the Quest 4 replacement. So the ultralight headset that they're working on, that's going to be an Apple Vision Pro competitor, but that it will also be available on the other platforms, but it's targeting those platforms. So what does that mean then? It means that they're shooting for a much higher resolution than is available on the current headsets. So I'm guessing HDR, ultra high res, up to 90 frames per second.
You think? I mean, that's basically
they're going to target near Apple specs.
Yeah, I mean, they have to
for this.
I mean,
and most likely, I would very much put money on the fact that they're probably going to be using the Ursa Immersive for this. If I was them, I would be doing that.
Right. Again, why wouldn't you? It is the camera.
Can you explain to me what the Ursula K. Le Guin Immersive is?
So, Sean, we've talked about this many times.
I have, but have we talked about this?
So yeah, the Blackmagic Ursa Immersive.
Yes, we've covered it extensively.
Yeah,
both in its pre-production form and its current form.
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
And the Upload VR also says that most likely it would be exclusive to Meta, but they could sell the shows or movies to other platforms. I think you sort of have to, because if not, this is just an advertisement for Meta, like.
So it's probably like an exclusive period, like say the first 2 months or something.
That's how I would do it, honestly.
Yeah.
Because these platforms aren't big enough to get exclusives that are truly exclusive.
And imagine if Apple was doing that, like how much bigger of an audience would they have?
Yeah.
I do wonder, like, would that, because I'm sure they're, trying not to do that because, you got to get an AVP if you want to look at this thing.
But how much content can they produce then?
Well, they're not yet, but like, I still wonder if like, even if you hobbled said content and be like, well, it looks better on the AVP, I think that would still sell. Like that might give you better numbers than just being like, you can't see it unless you come into a store or buy a $3,500 headset.
Yeah.
Like it seems like it would be better marketing for them to share it, even if it was hamstrung. I mean, and it would be because most headsets can't do 90 frames. Like,
this is interesting. You're building a brand new headset around this purchase. Because like, I would imagine that like the top 10 games that are available on GeForce or like that are for free, you can on a free sub, you would see like the top 3 Disney or A24 movies everyone keeps talking about with your grandparent because they've never seen it before, right? Like maybe that's the feel. The feel for me is that's what they're trying to get at. But with a brand new actual set of hardware, I just don't know what is that. I wonder. That's a lot more.
I mean, if we're talking Disney. That's Star Wars.
And I have friends who've never seen the Star Wars. They've not done their research.
Not even one Star Wars, much less Star Wars.
Yeah. And this is Portland, Oregon, right? So I mean, there is another.
Well,
way to see Star Wars, and like this, I think would be really cool. Like, dun, like that wall crawl of
The
text.
world is full of insufferable plebes, so
And some of them are going to be on Meta.
Well, and I'm
that's
just like,
true. Well, what I'm getting at is that like if we're talking about Disney, we're talking about Star Wars, we're talking about Marvel, you're talking about King of the Hill.
God, that's,
Hey, coming out soon. I'm excited.
yeah.
The spice must flow. I'll tell you what. Yeah.
The propane must.
I think this is a long time coming, absolutely, and it's a huge vote of confidence for the industry that because if Disney is getting back in, that's pretty much as wide and mainstream as you get.
Yeah.
remember that a long time ago, in this podcast, James Cameron went up to Meta, and I think also there was a Disney offer and an Apple offer, but he went to Meta.
Yeah.
To create a brand new set
For
of
3D
tools,
content.
for
Yeah.
3D
Not
content.
necessarily immersive.
Yeah, more documentary style work.
Well, we don't know that.
No,
We don't.
Well,
It's
Quite-
possible.
Anyway, Meta has been cornering or trying to be like positioning themselves as some kind of like streamer, maybe for 3D. What are they doing?
Well, it seems like they're trying to make moves to like beat Apple to the punch, basically. Because
Well, they're going to have to do some work on Meta TV, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
'Cause
I mean, they
currently,
definitely do. But
Meta TV sucks.
make it good, please.
Make it good. It sucks. I know that you know that.
You're embarrassing yourself.
You are absolutely embarrassing yourself.
God,
like,
relax.
well, it just
It's okay.
Come at me, boss.
it's just that the
Lieutenant Colonel,
the bit rate.
we
for
are
videos,
coming for your
The
Meta.
bit rate for videos on Meta TV is garbage, and it makes our good videos look bad.
Yeah,
And we have to show it to people on other platforms because it doesn't look good on Meta TV.
yeah. I mean, we can all do better.
Despite the fact that Meta TV is probably the largest built-in
Yeah,
audience.
like the biggest numbers.
Also,
of all-
ad monetization, please. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this is good.
Yes, so commit your complaints.
There's
to
not a
Studio
lot
Scope.
here other than it's happening and it's aimed at the next headset.
I'm excited.
But I
For
think
what I don't
it's
know.
very much a step in the right.
Yeah.
I mean, are we gonna get a Talk to Me VR film? That actually
That would be cool.
Usually, that'd be
that
terrifying.
actually sounds really
Yeah.
cool.
We're gonna edit this out so we can keep that idea to
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah, because as we all know, horror hits extra in VR, and it is shocking to me that no one has done a really like genre-defining VR horror film.
Eli Roth would like to have a word, but
Well, I'd like to have a word.
Cancel your meetings, Eli. We're here.
Yeah, this next one is also it's pretty cool. I checked it out earlier today. Sean, you got to look at it too.
Oh yeah.
This is DAZN. I don't really
that's how I've been saying it. or reading it or
DAZN.
whatever.
I guess I don't know. A silly name for what is actually a pretty great experience.
DAZN.
So it's a like a tabletop experience for football, soccer to us Americans, for witnessing World Cup experiences. I think it's not just World Cup, but it's so how when you boot it up, you get a traditional like filmed soccer football screen, just like, but then there's a rendered environment that's the tabletop, and it looks like they've used some sort of extraction layer to create like a point cloud system to extract motion data from the screen and represent it in like a 3D rendered field, a pitch.
So for the soundbite, for the 30-second soundbite, you can now watch soccer in 3D.
Yeah, I mean, virtually. It's we have to be clear here. The pitch environment is not video. It is a rendered reality.
Yes, it's like watching an actual game of FIFA, but from a fixed point of view, like way up in the stands.
It sort of looks like you're playing like playing FIFA on a console.
Right, like a
But
tabletop game.
It's not playable.
Yeah, but it's still 3D.
Which is strange, but it is a cool experience because it gives you a comprehensive look at the field or the pitch.
You're not switching cameras all the time. You're not watching a game where
Yeah,
you're
like
cutting
you
in.
can look
Yeah.
at the totality of it and know exactly what's happening
Right.
without, exactly getting
Yeah.
mixed around by the cameras.
Yeah.
So this is also available in a similar capacity in a very similar implementation on Apple Vision Pro with NBA. I haven't actually checked that out, but this is pretty cool.
It's very cool.
I'll be very honest, not super into sports.
But
I go occasionally. We live in Portland is very sports friendly, so like I've been to Timbers and Blazers games.
Yeah.
And they're fun. Whenever I go, I
the
have a good
Blazers
time.
are a basketball team. By the
I mean, I used to be much more into basketball when I was younger. I just I find it hard to keep up.
I'd actually really find it kind of interesting to see like an NBA game in 3D with like the usual like play-by-play and stats and just have it there. Because the other thing about this particular
Well, you can watch it in immersive, but you
yeah.
can't watch it in 3D.
Well, the other thing about this experience, the way this differs from like going to the bar or like watching it on your TV is that you have the stats, you have players you can flip between.
Yeah, that's
You can
cool.
see the
That is
game
that is a really
You can rewind the
awesome
game.
experience. Yeah,
It's
and you can
free.
they
for
have
the
like
next-
when goals are made or like when the ball changes ownership. Yeah. Supposedly they said that the semifinals and the finals will be streamed in immersive 180.
right.
They did not say 3D.
Yeah, that's always the hard part.
That's always the hard part. I mean, we've talked about this, is that 3D, when it comes to scenes that are shot from a distance, the 3D effect very much becomes less important.
Yeah,
It's
basically
and I'm guessing that's probably why they do it. My biggest sort of confusion, though, is with the NBA games, they're not shooting from a distance. They're getting those cameras like right up in there.
yeah, you would totally
So
appreciate
it would
3D.
totally look amazing in 3D, especially like under the basket. Like,
Yes. The camera's mounted to the
actually.
behind the backboard. Yeah.
I guess like it seems still consistent. Like this is still the case. So they must have made some decision about why they're doing this a long time ago that they're sticking to.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is just really hard technologically to stream in stereo.
Yeah.
And maybe some of the stuff that we're about to talk about with Apple later in the podcast might
Yeah.
be addressing this in the future. But in the meantime, it takes a lot of processing.
Yeah,
on the
so
fly.
you can actually you could try this out for free. There were 2 games running when we checked it out. You do have to make an account, and there is like a paid version of this. I don't really understand. I didn't pay attention to what that was, but you can watch right now 2 games for free. So I don't know.
Yeah, and World
If you want
Series.
to check it out, it's pretty compelling, especially if you're a soccer head or a football head, or a hooligan. So next we have at AWE, Snap was like the sponsor of the event. They were the main sponsor of AWE this year, because Snap is making a huge push into AR right now. So we covered these a couple times, or at least in different forms. So Snap has been making sort of like non-AR glasses for the last 10 years. And they used to just record video, and then I think this division had a lot more sort of success than they originally anticipated. Because I remember a friend of mine had these back when I lived in LA in 2017, and they were really silly looking, but they were interesting.
Still silly looking.
Still silly looking. But so last year or a few years ago, Snap had a dev kit that they were giving to developers, that were these gigantic honking things, that had a very small field of view, and they they don't run for very long. But the only way you could get your hands on these was to pay $100 a month.
Good goodness.
So that was the dev kit. Fast forward to today, and Snap is releasing these devices that you see on screen here as a standalone, fully integrated, no puck AR glasses sometime either this year or early next year. 2026. That will have a 60-degree field of view and have a lot of the implementations that the Meta Orion will have. And they're using very similar waveguide technology. So
Interesting.
this is the first time that we've seen any product like this that is fully integrated come to market.
Less things to lose.
Yeah.
Less pucks.
To be fair, there are
wristbands.
going to be, and we have to mention this, there are going to be huge caveats with this device because, well, first off, it's the first iteration of this device to come to market. It's the first time anything like this has come to market in this form factor. And also, it's running its own proprietary Snap OS. So, however, I've read that Snap OS, because it's being designed directly for this platform, and it doesn't have to run, like Unity or something like that, is going to be highly efficient. And so it will run these experiences relatively well based on the use cases. So you're talking about, I'm guessing the battery life on these is going to be quite low.
Yeah.
Well, for now.
So you're saying it's a ground up OS. It didn't start with Android or anything like that. Interesting.
So this is their own
That's a quite a big
Snap
thing.
OS,
Like,
which developers already have access to and have had access to for years now. So
What's the 3 billion?
2021. And it's using so the problem with waveguides is that and this is what
Did it say 30 minutes?
that was the original. That's the dev kit from
People paid $100 for 30 minutes.
$100 a month.
And that led to a $3 billion like moonshot to the Snapticals?
Well, because there's not really anybody else other than Meta and XREAL that are really sort of putting in this level of investment into this.
Yeah.
See, now,
And here's the thing. Snap has their own, social media platform. That's where this all comes from. But they don't have Meta type of money. They're not that big of a company.
Right.
I very much see this as an interesting but very, very risky thing for them.
Yeah. I mean, to do all that development from the ground up.
Because I'm getting like IBM in the 80s type of vibes off of this, where like they have their eyes on a prize, but somebody is going to come and wipe them out of existence.
like Orion.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's a good, because like IBM was the establishment in the 80s and wasn't actually taking personal computing seriously until Apple came along and blew them out of the water.
What I mean is they didn't see the internet coming at all.
So yeah, more like IBM. But that's like, I don't know. Yeah, either way, I see what you're saying, but I don't know if it's quite.
What I mean is that like they have their eyes on a prize, but they're not nimble enough and they don't have enough resources to make the inevitability of something that's going to happen.
Would you
Might
say
be more like Atari, really?
Sure. Yeah. That seems like a closer
Like
or maybe like Xerox.
yeah,
would probably be.
yeah, Xerox might be a really good because it's like they're too early and did a bad job marketing it or whatever. Like
Exactly.
but I mean, they might. I mean, they are going up against Meta and then ultimately Apple and a couple others, right? Like,
Well, like, because like, what does success look for this? Like, eventually scaling down. Because I see this. I see this as like something because if the battery life is only 2 hours and it's not something that you can like replace your glasses with, that's just a toy.
Yeah,
Right.
You know?
Right. It won't fully integrate into your everyday.
Into your life. Yeah. And the field of view isn't wide enough to do productivity. And that's a big thing that a lot of these classes are going to have a problem with, is if they don't completely replace your daily drivers, then why not just have a puck? Because you're only going to be using them at home, or
that's a fair point.
or in situations that you don't require mobility as the primary factor.
Yeah. Or it's just more niche use cases, right? Like, I don't know if you saw the video of the dude playing golf and it like using these glasses to help predict. I think it was these.
Oh, predict the
like you could look at it. It would
cool.
scan the grade.
Yeah,
and
it
be
can do
like,
that. Yeah.
if you hit the ball straight this way, and it'll show the curve and into the.
I wonder if it has like
So maybe it's like a training
sub-millimeter accuracy to be able to like identify slope and that type of thing.
Yeah, that, I mean, I don't know, but it's an interesting use case because that's not an everyday use case.
No, for sure.
You know, that
And
might
that
be
would
like
require mobility.
2 hours a day of.
For sure. Like, don't get me wrong.
Teaching
There
yourself
are very, very cool things about these glasses and about the, I mean, AR in general, I think is incredible. But these types of glasses, like, wouldn't even really be that great for media consumption because your field of view isn't very low.
Yeah, they might end up just occupying a weird little niche.
Yeah, I think the niche is basically data aggregation. They're a social media company. You don't really want to put them on for more than an hour.
The field of view on this is just 46 degrees. I mean, that's not even not even the 60 of the XREAL 1 Pro or the supposed 70 degree of the Vitcher device that is coming later this year. And this is the interesting thing, is that like the XREAL 1 Pro, which we haven't gotten our hands on yet, but I'm still talking to XREAL about getting something happening.
Yes.
We all if you have them, send them to us, please.
Yes, XREAL, please. Some more, please.
But what I mean is that like the XREAL, this has it's using OLEDs, and it's got the Prism, the advanced Prism bird bath optics, so it's a little bit smaller optical stack. But these devices are designed, they're not for mobility. You're not walking around with them.
Yeah.
This is a puck tethered situation.
With the XREAL and with the XREAL, like the HoloLens, with even the AVC, you have a headset, you have either a puck or like Orion wants you to wear.
Well, in the form factor of these, what I'm getting at is the form factor of these is going to necessitate, and their optical system is going to necessitate a price almost double that of the XREAL 1 Pros. Minimum of
double
$1,000, I'm guessing.
Interesting.
I mean, this is speculation.
That might be into just
for the snap specs.
Specialty device category. Like, that
I mean,
definitely narrows the market.
Very interesting, but they're definitely going to have. There's going to be some use case. Some person is going to be like, going to look at the total mobile, all-in-one, no puck situation, and be like,
perfect.
I have something
for me.
Well, it might just be a loss leader for the industry as a whole. Like anyone who's investing in that $3 billion.
And like you're saying, I mean, when it's a social media network, again, you're
talking about loss.
You might be the product here.
Yeah, exactly.
You're on the golf club.
Yeah, because especially like if it'll be able to tell what you're looking at, how long you're looking at it. The amount of data consumption there that you're feeding it is pretty unrivaled.
I just wonder, like, in the sociological imagination, what little I have left, where these are like, you're not using them to learn how to fold proteins, right? I mean, like, it's like that requires more than a half hour to an hour of battery time, but they're so big and bulky. It's almost like, wait, what's the battery life on that? If someone sees you wearing them, they're gonna make, they're big enough now so that they probably have good battery times. Maybe I should check one out, and then they only just use it for like a half an hour.
Yeah.
But because they have, another person might see them and go, wait a minute, it's back, like VR's back, like what was it? These aren't Apple Visions, they're just noticeable enough in public that it's a loss leader for the industry to shoot back in the event that it doesn't work out, that's fine. It's like, it is a cool toy,
Yeah.
you know, but it is also like, it's a capable toy, and it's like, it's not so it's just, it's hard, it's not hard to see, like literally
Yeah.
why these are
It is
gonna be out
saying
there.
that there will be guided navigation, fleet management.
Fleet
They're
manage?
working with
Nice.
Niantic, the former Pokemon devs.
Catch 'em all.
WebXR will be supported in the browser. So like this, it does actually seem pretty
Promising.
pretty promising. Yeah.
So we've
I also
flipped the
think I might have gotten the field
Yeah.
of view on
Now
that
we're
one.
into it.
And all it took was
Some
2
words.
minutes of random brain usage so that you could all get your data aggregated through like the, you know, like the coolest platform, the one that, you know, is known for
Okay,
being,
so
erase me.
Turns
24
out
hours
the
later.
field of view on these is not 40. They haven't announced what the field of view is. The field of view that I mentioned was from the previous version
The dev
of the
kit.
dev kit. Yeah. So
$100. I'm
don't
wondering-
don't take that with a grain of salt. So this one, XREAL Project Aura. This is like the XREAL seems to be
These are for-
moving very, very quickly. It seems like they have sort of been the most popular of the seeded AR glasses, like video glasses crowd, but they are absolutely going for the AR sort of thing. But this is a seated experience, and the other thing is that you're not seeing on here is that this is also a tethered device. This is either tethered to their XREAL Beam platform or your smartphone. But the Aura is 70-degree field of view, external puck, Snapdragon XR, and their own on glasses X1S chip for spatial computing, hand tracking, MR, and Gemini integration, because this will have Android XR in it. So Project Aura seems to be their shot at mainstream Android XR AR glasses, going for Apple Vision Pro, going for definitely for Snap. But this is not a daily walking around device, and we have to make that sure. This is almost certainly going to be mostly media consumption
Yeah.
and light productivity.
Yeah. More like a light VR headset. than
Yes.
anything else. Yeah.
Sort of, I would compare it to actually the Oculus Go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's either usually it's one or the other, right? It's either media consumption or daily users. Like there's a split. I
Well,
see.
we don't even really have any daily users. The only daily use AR headsets that exist right now are the Meta Ray Bans. Well, there's some caveats.
Well, there it is.
There's some
They
other
exist.
competitors, but I don't really care about them.
But those daily users are, you know, are there navigation?
But they don't have. But
is there
these
nav
daily
on it?
users, they don't have screens in them.
Right.
Nobody has developed a daily driver
It's really
that screens in them.
It's a voice assistant you wear.
Yeah,
It's,
it's access to the AR or to the AI assistant.
yeah.
The difference here is that this is a device that you use when you're at home, when you don't want to, a full dive experience. When
Right.
You just woke up and you need to know what is your
Sure.
day like.
I mean,
you don't want to
the
look at your
perfect,
phone. Maybe it's dead.
And the other thing is that these will
Yeah.
Sorry,
they're
I
more
can't take you seriously if
Yeah,
I don't
so
wear these.
something that XREAL added to the XREAL One Pros out of nowhere, they didn't even announce it until like a month ago, is that they have an add-on camera that adds 6DoF support,
Just crazy.
which
What?
is absolutely crazy,
Absolutely
and it's only from one camera. So
Yeah.
the XREAL Aura or Project Aura will almost certainly have 6DoF support. I'm guessing
You can-
because it looks like there's a camera built in the center there.
Yeah.
This is I really want to keep my eye on XREAL because it seems like they are moving faster and getting more market
Yeah.
share
Oh, yeah.
than any of their competitors. Vitcher seems to be coming out with a very similar device. Somebody that I follow gave actually the Vitcher glasses best of show at AWE 2025. And so, but they haven't really announced what that project is going to be. They showed them off, but they haven't done any like demos or elaborated on what that device is.
Yeah. They seem to be iterating very quickly. I mean, I'm just thinking about one of the first episodes of the podcast. We talked about
that was like
the
three generations ago,
and that's crazy.
And that was only like a year and a half ago.
Exactly, 18 months. That's amazing.
That means that they've got a lot of money to burn. I'm guessing that they're getting constant injections of cash.
Yeah.
And they're shipping product.
That's
like
the thing. It's not vaporware.
Yeah. So you should ship us a product.
Yeah.
There's also another really cool thing. Like one of the immersive video creator community we're full of hacky makers, and so people are always iterating, trying to figure out new functionality for new and old devices. So the QuoCam 3 Ultra VR180 mod by Xiang, we just got a review unit of it. He managed to get live capture stereo correct direct from the QuoCam 3 Ultra VR180 mod device over USB-C to some of these video glasses. He was using an old pair of Vichers, but like that is
it's huge
thing for this consumer
capable
this consumer grade camera. I mean, literally no other device on the market can do that right now.
That would be like getting your phone and turning it into like an onboard dash cam that can help you navigate your car.
Well,
like
it just makes
like that's how much work you put in.
If we had live capture directly out of the R5C in a plug and play solution, that would make it so much easier to check stereo and just like get a very quick look at what you're looking at in headset in an immersive environment, or at least a somewhat immersive environment.
Yeah, the amount of hoops and hardware you need to live
preview. I've been trying to communicate to XREAL that immersive video may not be as far off from their long-term goals as maybe they think it is. I mean, they've already released a spatial camera for the XREAL Beam Pro, so they're already thinking in that capacity some way. I'd really, and see, this is what I like to do, is I like to look at all the various permutations and see like what is possible with these devices, and that's why we cover these types of devices on here, because this is a shared future.
Yeah. That's why it's such a broad coverage. It's like I'm here because I like to be funny, and I also like find all this really funny, but also really interesting. But I have
you're also in the industry, so you have a view of movies and projects and that type of thing.
Yeah. But that's part of the shared pictures, part of the shared vision, I suppose, that we're all trying to do. But the reason I think that this is interesting, that the XREAL is interesting, is because I was 3 podcasts ago being like, oh, that's new. But Facebook was also like, what about this? We got a magic carpet too.
Yeah.
And now they've got more traction, more interest, more like we talk about them much more than I think anything else. Than all the other guys.
Well,
is that because
we keep talking about them because they keep releasing new products?
I was gonna say, honestly, because Meta's Magic Carpet is still 10 years out,
and each one seems to be more compelling than the last.
So what I'm saying is, please ship us a product.
Yeah.
We will shill for you, but we'll tell people about it
as if we haven't already been.
I know, right? All right, so they didn't release too much about it. There was a long talk about it, but they haven't released too much of actual specs about the Project R. That's what I'm getting at. The CEO has been talking about their long vision, and they very much have their, more so than any other company in this space, they seem to have the most velocity than anybody else. They are moving faster than they feel like Meta during the Oculus days.
Yes.
And that's
a good thing. Lean machine.
So this one was sort of a late addition. This wasn't even announced at AWE. It was just sort of like a thing that they put up on LinkedIn for people in the industry. And that's the company is called Immersive Company, and they have their Prima Immersive. I'm sort of not sure where the branding for Prima is. Is it the camera? is the Prima the camera or is it the platform?
It has been unclear because I feel
This
like
has been unclear.
'cause I thought it
so-
was the platform.
Yeah, so a couple months ago we talked about the Prima's their new video platform. They worked with the Spatialist to create these super high resolution videos that we covered, and they were very impressive. This camera seems to be their camera system that they're launching that they've been using to capture their videos.
Yeah, they mentioned in that like that they had created their own camera. Now
It's
they're
launching
selling.
in fall 2025 for $8,995. It's a VR 180 system, and it's going to be a highly capable device for the price, or so they claim.
Yeah, if it lives up to this to the claims, then amazing.
So I'm guessing, most likely, that this is going to be aimed as a prosumer competitor to the Ursa Immersive.
And it's mostly because I mean that there's not a whole lot of competition out there.
There's not.
and
There's
that places
pretty much
it
nothing.
just above the R5C package and well below the
Because
Ursa
as we know, and it seems to be at this point, that 8K is the absolute bare minimum now. That is the lowest you can go. I've gone back and looked at some 5.7K content recently, and wow.
You mean 8K resolution, not 8K, which is the price tag on the Prima, but 8K resolution.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And
Though, hey,
the price tag is 9K. But
yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to
Well,
round down.
I don't know.
Jeez.
Quocam 3 Ultra, we're gonna have
$899.
a lot to say about that camera real soon here. But you can do 8K right now for looks like about $1,000. Really, really, really well.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we're very interested in this. We would Prima, or Immersive, if you're looking, we would love to get our hands on an early version of this device, possibly use it on a project that we're planning on putting out later this year.
Yeah.
We'd love to talk. But we're very interested. I think any new players in this space, as long as they don't forget the software, because the software, as we've seen with other camera manufacturers, the software really, really is a make or break on this stuff. I mean,
I don't know if I agree.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'll say that mostly because like we've made the R5C work without Canon software. We're doing it all like
Yeah,
with
but
homebrew
that-
solutions, and so
That's
like
with a camera platform that gives you the tools that you need. I see what you mean. What I'm getting at is that
What
we
the
just
thing-
reviewed the Slam X Cam, and we have a
You're talking
video.
about on camera software.
Yes,
Okay. Well, yeah, but I mean that's
that's
not
almost
technically what I'd call software, but yeah.
sure. Yeah, firmware, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, UI design and or whatever's running under the hood for sure. I mean that's huge, and I would think that would be covered. But again,
for sure.
without giving away too much about
Well, and also, like, how are you going to get the files off the camera? How are you going to get them? Is it unwrapped, or is it gen locked? Is it
all these things. Is it two sensors?
is it
That
two
a huge-
sensors, or is it all on one sensor?
So far, every two sensor system we've ever used has not been great. It
Yeah.
has some sort of downside. So
It does seem though that the Quocam is a dual sensor.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Wait
it
a
might
minute.
actually-
Wait a minute. What is the Prima adding to this like set of issues?
well, so that's we don't really
All
know.
platforms.
This is
Why haven't
literally
they-
as much as we know so far
This is-
about this camera.
Yeah. So
Is it
all I
like-
know about this camera is that it comes out later this year.
Yeah.
For 9K, it's a VR 180. system.
Yeah,
And hopefully it will solve everything that we
exactly.
just talked
We're
about.
at the trust me, bro stage of marketing on this.
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah. Which I hope it does.
But I would love
from
it.
what we have seen from the camera
Optics.
already,
Yes.
very, very interested, because the quality of that camera, in some ways, blows everything that I have seen in headset out of the water. Because I haven't seen anything from the Ursa Immersive
Right.
in headset yet.
But let's say it's like 80% as good as the Ursa Immersive for a third the price.
That would be
compelling.
highly compelling.
Like,
And yeah, I think there would be a lot of creators who would absolutely jump at the concept. Yeah, so we don't really know a lot about this, but they announced it I figured we should bring it.
Fall 2020.
We're definitely waiting.
Sooner.
At Worldwide Developer Conference, just a couple weeks ago, they announced VisionOS 26. So I don't know if you're paying attention, but Apple rebranded the way that they're rolling out all future software updates, and it is tied to the year, not the iteration.
Which
This is true.
makes sense across, especially if you have a bunch of Apple devices.
Absolutely.
Instead of having like iOS 18 and tvOS
And there's
5
no
and like blah, blah, blah.
there's no context of how that fits in
Yeah.
versus other.
So it definitely clarifies things. It's
Yeah,
actually
I think it's a good
an
personally.
uncomplicated.
So we went from
Yep.
VisionOS like 2 to VisionOS
26.
26.
Just like a car, you know. Yeah, just like buying it.
The first thing that they announced was PSVR 2 Sense controllers and Logitech Muse style support. So you're going to be able to use PSVR 2 controllers as touch controllers on Apple Vision Pro. You can go to the Apple Store, you can buy them. They have them there. If you have PSVR 2, you can use the same ones. And this is honestly, this definitely should have been a thing from launch.
Yeah, I won't even give them shit for this. Like the fact that they're doing it and like they basically, this is Apple style. They get it out like working.
Yeah.
And then they add like, this is like where they basically patched most of the big glaring holes in the headset, including like phone integration. Like the fact that you can now pick up your phone and answer the phone in the headset. That's a
Very
huge
cool,
little
yeah.
thing, you know, and like, so it's typical Apple roadmap.
Yeah, you know, iterate, but like we need 1 year to figure out all the problems.
I think this is great. This is going to make gaming much more relevant. I think to add to this, they also increased hand tracking and all tracked devices
Not
frequency.
At true 90 hertz now, which is again
much
huge.
higher,
huge
which
boost.
means that there will be less latency and better tracking in general. For gaming, that's really necessary. I wonder how that's going to affect the OLED panels and persistence, though. Is because they're still going to be smearing with fast-moving objects, and you really can't get away.
Yeah, there's
from
no getting around that. But I mean, at least it still makes the interface snappier.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely in my demos with it, I've been like, okay, you got to be real deliberate. So hopefully it cleans up some of that where you don't have to be quite as like.
Photorealistic personas. I have to say, I was shocked at how much better they are.
Yeah,
like
truly.
I actually legitimately was not expecting them to get this much better this quickly.
Yeah.
This
is definitely something that
I
should
saw
have been there for a
Hugh's
while.
new persona, and I was like, "Whoa, that actually looks like
this is
Hugh,
very
and not some horrible robot version."
Yeah,
of it.
melted face. Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of
great-
it.
Yeah,
Perfect
looking at it
timing
right
here,
here.
yeah.
I mean, looks
It is night and day.
tremendously better.
It doesn't
This
feel
is usable, and this is so Meta is working on their own version of this. They got to beat this now. Like, if Metas aren't
The
as
bar
good
is
as this,
much
then
Well,
like,
they were working at this like 1-2 years ago. There was like
I
a
mean, they've
whole
been working
interview
on this,
that
I think, longer than
they
Apple has.
they were working on this when Zuck had like short hair.
Yeah,
You know,
before
like, and you can find it on.
Colonel in the army.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you where to find that interview, but it's out there on the other
Every word
YouTube.
in that sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did an interview with him. Like, of course, this is so much less uncanny too. Like, there's actually pass through going on. Which
So
is,
this fits. So pinned apps and spatial widgets. So you're going to be able to move stuff around in your environment and have it stay there. Meta promised this at launch for the Quest 3, and it's still not available except for one mirror.
yeah.
Meta, get on this. You're getting your ass handed to them. So
stop making movies with Disney.
All these new features are making me very jealous as a Meta user.
Yeah. And I fear that the Quest just does not have the horsepower to do some of the stuff that they want it to do. It's super powerful, but it's nowhere near the AVP.
Tracked experiences really do require a shit ton of resources. That's why,
and even the rendering itself, right? Like these things, these widgets.
I mean, that's why whenever you use your headset in mixed reality mode, you get like a third less battery.
Yeah.
So what else? Hand tracking. We already covered that. AI powered spatial scenes. I don't care about this at all.
Game controller support.
yeah.
So this is the big one. This is actually, I think this next thing is arguably
the coolest thing.
the biggest feature of anything, period. So, and that's shared spatial experiences, co-watching and collaboration, local co-location for movies, games, freeform, photo albums, and FaceTime. This is a killer feature that is now baked into VisionOS platform-wide. This means that any developer that wants a co-watching experience in their app no longer has to add it themselves. That is gigantic. That is platform redefining, and it's something that Meta could have had and almost had years ago. They had early integration, similar feature set, and then they abandoned it.
Yeah. Classic.
To be
Clear. Supposedly they're working on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how, and I don't know if that is platform wide. I think it's only for like Meta supported apps or Meta apps that use
within the horizon. Yeah. How is this different from the from AI spatial scene share? Oh gosh, how is
it's completely different.
Yeah. But I was confused. Like I thought that they needed to use me in order to get that to work. And is it just about like sharing a space to get a thing? Do you have a
It means that if you built, for example, like an immersive video app, we're talking 180 3D, and you wanted to watch it with somebody else, they just pop in.
Yeah. Welcome. Take a seat.
There are some things that I'm a little confused about, like how is it going to work with like breaking stereo and that type of thing?
Because it's and be acoustic.
I'll have to see how it works in headset,
like with immersive content.
Yeah, and we'll have to test it out with a second user.
Yeah.
But it definitely makes some things that we've been thinking about smoother.
Yeah, and in general, I think it addresses one of the bigger criticisms of VR, which is that it's socially
isolating device. Yeah,
and so like,
but this means that like any movie that you buy on iTunes, if you have somebody that has a headset that you could just pop in and watch it with them right now. Yeah, as long as you know.
It's not like they're on their headset, leave them alone. No, you're part of this experience now.
Yeah,
and it's not that hard to jump aboard, unless you know.
And this is for games too. I mean, this is really the co-location and the co-watching is really a feature that changes the whole dynamic of how VR works. And I am seriously impressed. It means that you could like listen to music in the same room with somebody, just hanging out, like just fire up Apple Music. Like,
and of course, you can still have your me time, but now it's we time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
It makes every
you can have that for free.
Well done,
industry.
It makes every experience.
I mean,
it makes literally every single experience on Apple VisionOS multiplayer.
Yo, that's the
yeah.
In a multi-family single dwelling house.
Okay.
Single 30 minutes.
Spatial Safari, 3D model support, and immersive video reader mode. That's cool, I guess. This one is this is big. I was sort of dismissive of it when I first read about it, but the more I read about it, it's become more important. And that's the expanded immersive media support for native 180 and 360 video using the Apple projected media profile. So, Anthony, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
What I'm gleaning, which I have not been able to do a deep dive on this.
We did a little bit of a deep dive.
Yeah.
But it was so much information.
Not truly a deep dive. It was a shallow splashing. But I think it's basically something we talked about from the other side of it when we were talking about the Ursa Immersive and the ability of you being able to like take a file that you just shot on the Ursa Immersive and watch it unwrapped with transitions and everything in headset without doing any processing in between.
Yeah.
And that seems to be what this APMP thing is a standard for, is putting in a signal and or metadata into the file that's like, this is a 180.
It can tell you what.
Yeah. This is a 180 degree file shot on this camera with this lens profile.
With this lens separation.
All this other stuff. And that you can just ship that file directly to the headset and it'll play it correctly without having to do the intermediary step that we have right now, which is unwrapping and fixing the stereo and doing all the things that.
And then
like,
sometimes
ST
when you
map
go
does.
into the app, you have to select like, oh, this is a 220-degree field of view
Right.
lens instead of a 180
Yeah,
degree.
it's one of those things we sort of take for granted. Like even now when I'm
Yeah.
doing my testing, I've already done the unwrapping, but still in like DOVR, I got to say this is a side by side 180 video.
Yeah. Well, and
3D.
sometimes I go into a video on DOVR and I realize, oh, this is the wrong lens profile.
Yeah.
And then I change it and it's correct. And
Yeah.
there's no like sort of curved lines anymore.
Yeah, and this is an interesting problem that we keep running against because technically the R5C is 190 degrees and almost no one supports that. DO does, but YouTube does not.
It doesn't.
And so I'm having to constantly publish everything at 180 and have the distortion so that it's compatible. Because even
it's frustrating.
The Google metadata injector
isn't correct.
you can't even type in it breaks it if you try to type in 190.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those.
You'd have to
things
use like FFmpeg or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a metadata thing though.
Yeah.
So like it is. It's just a frustrating thing. It's one of those things that's still lagging behind in the industry, but this will address that.
It seems like Apple realized that there was a sort of a chaotic mess, and they're trying to standardize it.
Right. And to be fair, I think this is leveraging. Like, I don't think that any headset can do this. I think it needs to be powerful enough to do the unwrapping in real time, and I don't think every headset can do that. Like, I think somebody would have done it by now if, like, say, a Quest 3 could do it, but I don't know that it has the horsepower that
You think only
the AVP does.
Yeah.
Because the AVP's got a M2 proc in it. You know, what I mean, that thing is.
I don't agree with you on that, but
well, I mean,
I would love to see why no one else has done it
yeah.
yet. I think this is the only reason why it's possible.
it's just a unified system.
Well-
Like, it's Apple is good at doing that. They're good at hardware. They're pulling all their research and focus together, and they know
The
this is
Qualcomm 3
solution. It's easy.
defishes
Like
in real time.
Sure, but that's not the headset doing it.
True.
Yep.
Mac OS spatial rendering. That is, so there have been some leaks that Apple is working on a tethered version of the Apple Vision Pro that will be slimmer, some down, cheaper, and that will be connected directly to your Mac.
Plug and
This
play.
is a precursor to that, which means that you will be able to use your Apple Vision Pro as a PC VR device. This is their take on virtual desktop or
Oh, yeah.
Steam Link or whatever. So you'll be able to render stuff on your PC in higher fidelity than on your device, or probably, I'm guessing, it'll do both. Spatial rendering of your environment or UI and stuff on the headset, and then rendered stuff on PC. So that's big. Right now, obviously, there's no official announcements about that other device, but this is sort of a hint at that. And then lastly, Adobe announced that they're making a VisionOS app for editing spatial video on the AVP itself, which arguably they probably should have done a while ago.
Oh, sure.
Spatial Cut sort of got to that first.
Yeah. Adobe's good about
Doing that, yeah.
being way late to the game.
But that's gonna be coming in a few months. That was literally all that was available. There's no information about the app.
Yeah. So don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
And
Who
wait for
knows how
that.
long
Yeah.
it could
Free
take.
cloud trial.
So Android XR, Google I/O happened during around the same period of time, and this one is very interesting because I'm hugely excited for Android XR, because I'm more of a Google user, and what this was really showing what their implementation of Android XR is going to look like. It's going to be heavily integrated into Google Maps and Gemini. Heavy Gemini, probably too much Gemini.
Are you okay with Gemini?
I just the AI stuff.
You will use it and you will like it.
The
It's
more I
going
use
to
it,
change your life.
I do find it very useful.
What was
for
that
certain
accent? I just
things,
want to know.
but I do not like generative AI for creative purposes unless it is assistive. And anyways, we've already gone.
But with an XR product, like,
Um,
isn't that built in? Don't you have to?
So the most interesting thing that this showed is what he's wearing right here. This is their monocular display Android XR glasses that they're making in collaboration with Gentle Monster and Warby Parker, and it's going to have a little screen in the corner on one eye, but it will be full color. And
color.
And see, this is their what we're seeing behind us.
Sort of
This
like-
is their
I actually
strategy.
can't see that right.
They're looking at making Android XR adaptable for every single different type of wearable device. And I think this is a very, very smart way to do this because it acknowledges the reality of the situation, which is there will be different types of devices.
Yeah.
I mean, even in my life, like I'm not really interested in AR glasses that don't have some sort of heads-up display. I
Right.
don't find them very useful for my life.
But is monocular good enough for you?
Monocular, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, monocular would be fine. I like the concept of notifications. I like the idea of turn-by-turn navigation. I just find a visual interface much more useful than like
Yeah, I agree. Than just a
audio
voice
interface.
assistant.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like I would rather look at my phone for directions than have it be told to me.
And I also don't
It's
love
weird.
pulling my
Why is
phone
that?
out all the time.
Well, yeah.
That's another thing.
I just don't think the monocular is good enough. Like I don't have any interest in a monocular device.
I think it can be useful. But here's the thing: is I don't think we're gonna stay with monocular for long.
No, it's clearly a bridge.
Yeah.
But I just think I'm
Well,
skipping.
you know,
that
it's
bridge.
interesting. I was just listening to this is an OPB NPR interview about XR AR with Meta's product with their CTO, and the interviewer actually only had 90% vision in one eye, and so like, what better way to cut costs on your product than to go monocular? Is that like there's a use case for that, right? Two isn't necessary if you have limited vision in one eye and you can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it just changes the way that you use it, and like, yeah, I think having a 3D overlay on your world would be way cooler than. I don't really. I mean, like, I don't want notifications on my glasses. I hardly want them on my watch. Like, notifications are just another way for these apps.
Well,
like,
I don't necessarily mean notifications because I actually hate notifications.
they're
they're awful. But
basically-
what I do mean is interacting with apps. Because like I use Spotify and Qobuz high-res streaming service a lot, probably much more than most users.
Kind of getting there.
Yeah. And so I love having to be able to look through my audio in a way that like is very detailed very quickly.
You want to know what song it is?
I want to know what year it came out. I want to know who the publisher is. I want to know
Who directed the video?
absolutely. And all these things, especially for monocular display. And what we're saying is that it looks like actually their version of these video glasses, or the AR glasses, it's not in the corner. It's actually just one bespoke eye. And these are also waveguides. This is so a built-in into, so like this is daily wears. This is what we were talking about earlier. Just the idea that like you'll be able to have live translation of text elements.
Yeah.
That stuff is mind-blowing.
You can go on,
and that's why that is where the Gemini integration I think does work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't speak 18 languages yet.
Yeah. And maps, I think, is great. I think,
But what about
and there's going to be other use cases that we can't even think of yet.
like look how these glasses are really like they look like glasses. They're not like the XREAL.
Yeah. Or the snap-ons with
Yeah.
The Snapticals.
And you'll be able to have like your prescription in there and everything. I can only wonder what the battery life is going to be like.
2 days is the minimum I want. 2 days, one for the night out and one for the night in.
They also talked about Project Muhan, which is still supposedly on track for 2025, which they're still calling it Project Muhan though, and
We covered that.
2025 is
not holding.
halfway over.
Yeah.
Was that
I also
podcast?
heard a leak couple. There's a
Podcast number 10, Project Muhan.
and I heard that they're going to launch in South Korea first exclusively, and I'm guessing they'll launch in South Korea October, and then launch in America in December.
Yeah.
Because
Right,
Wuhan
that
means
makes sense.
infinity.
Yeah. Going for the holiday
Yeah.
sale.
Right.
Um,
And
And it's obviously as late as you can go, but still call it 2025.
you know
and
that
it'll have Project X or Project Aura by XREAL is also running Android XR. And the good thing about Android XR versus Meta is that it's going to have access to the entire Google Play Store and Google Play apps. So YouTube, and I have actually seen in the last couple of weeks a lot of work on the Meta YouTube Immersive app. Like there's little things that are moving around. Like they're expanding. You can do higher resolutions. They now call spatial videos instead of VR videos. There's a mixed reality mode, so you can watch 3D videos in a window now. Like, okay, for example, if you try to watch 3D videos in the pass-through window, it doesn't work.
Right.
But if you tried the mixed reality mode, you can cut out like your wall. It uses the pass-through, or it uses the mesh scene mesh data of your
Right.
room.
So I can place it in space.
Yes,
And
it knows where your
and
stuff
you can
is.
still see it in 3D.
yeah. Well, no, that's great because like that's the problem is that you would have these stereo conflicts, but if it works with the stereo, then it makes sense.
So it looks like they're tweaking all these little things behind the scenes for the inevitable rollout of Android XR, which is what I've been saying that they were going to do this for years. Mind you, I don't know if they're going to platform immersive videos. We'll see.
It's like Batman and Robin, man. Like I know it's been taken forever, but without AI, you just can't sell one without the other. You can't sell Robin without Batman. You can't sell Batman without Robin. Like that's just why they're.
Except that we've literally only had Robin in 2 movies.
I know exactly. And look at those 2 movies.
Yeah.
The worst ones.
Exactly.
The worst ones. Yeah. I just,
Hey, I want to see Nightwing as much as anybody. Give me Dick or go home.
Yeah, yeah.
Dick Grayson,
that's
by the way.
that's
If you don't know who that is,
episode title right there.
then you'll never know.
Give me Dick or go home.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm really excited for Android XR. Just give us a price, give us a name, release the freaking headset already. All right. I wonder how much these glasses are going to cost.
Oh gosh.
I'd say probably $1,000.
With the prescription baked in, maybe you get some deals with Warby Parker. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
Could be.
we'll see.
2 for
Still too
1.
much. The thing is, I think Meta is like how much are the Meta glasses?
They're
They're
$300.
$300 to $400.
$400
$400,
bucks. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Well, and they just announced the Oakley ones, which are a little bit more expensive.
Yeah. So I think that thing is, I think anything over 5 is going to fail because Meta's already sort of set the expectation that glasses should cost this much, and then as they keep adding features, they should
I
keep
don't
that
know.
price point.
And also,
because you can't even sell a VR headset past 5. I mean, they're like
Yeah, you can't.
under 500 it sells, over 500 it doesn't.
Yeah, but I mean, look at how much did your Apple Watch cost?
I don't know,
Was it
300 bucks or
used?
something like that.
Was it really?
Yeah.
$300.
Okay. Aren't they like,
And, like-
they were like $600?
I mean, they can be. You can go to the
They
Ultra.
can be. That's what I'm talking about.
But,
But
like-
do you need that? You know, like these are still a luxury item. People go, but honey, do you need to know where
Okay,
you're
I
going
will
every
say
day?
this.
Yeah.
I will say this: I would not buy a $300 pair of Meta Ray-Bans without a screen, but I would buy $1,000 monocular display
Interesting.
Warby
Yeah.
Parker glasses.
Yeah, and maybe I'm the weirdo because I wouldn't buy either. I would buy like Orion for $1,000.
Well, it's definitely not gonna be $1,000.
Well, I mean, by the time it comes out, it might.
You would
But
be-
like, because I got to get the cost down. Because like, it
Because
just
you're a pro, you could justify the expense and then call it a loss at the
I
end.
didn't even know if I could justify the expense of that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like it is,
Well,
But you
I
could
don't know.
write it off.
but
you know?
it
You
is.
probably could.
These are Christmas gifts. At best, they're stocking stuffers. You know, like, and then it's like, do you want to let anybody else know that you're wearing them? With Snapticals, it's different. It's like, yeah, I'm on the
Yeah,
ball.
look,
You know?
you got a chunky monkey on your face there, bud.
These are discrete products designed for you to blend in, so you can do your mission and exit without anyone knowing that you just watched Jason Bourne like on your phone. I mean, your face. You know, like you
Yeah.
found all the exits and you know exactly where to go to the bathroom. Like
Okay, so one thing I will comment on is that this demo that they did, even despite the fact that it bugs out at the end, while it was working, he's speaking in Farsi, it's translating into English. She's speaking in Hindi and translating into English, and they're communicating. It was one of the most impressive things I've
this
ever
is
seen.
the kind of stuff that I'm like, yes,
It
this
was
is
it was
actually
straight up. I was like, holy shit.
this is like one of my big worries with this, like some of this tech, is that like, are they actually going to bring us something we want and
Yeah.
that is useful? And that's useful. That's like
That is
that is
absolutely
like sci-fi shit that we've
Yeah.
been pining for.
because that's like universal. That's Star Trek stuff
It
there,
is.
you know.
It
Like,
is. It is straight out.
hmm.
As long as it's not, cramped. Like I just like, when do the ads come, right? Like when does?
Oh, they're gonna be there from day one.
Well, I think it takes a little bit of time. Just like
It's third-party dev.
you
Like,
got to get people on. You have to get people in the glasses before you can start ruining them with ads.
And shitification.
That's. I mean, that is the tech bro way of doing things. So
well, yeah, it's like, okay, so Duolingo is going to launch a version where you can learn how to speak and converse much
But you
more
can
quickly.
only speak in corporate
Or corporate
corporate,
Klingon.
yeah.
Corporate Klingon only on Mondays. And
drink
yeah,
drink the blood of cola.
it is a good day to Monday.
It is a good day to drink soda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean,
All right. So that was a long episode. There was a lot to cover. I think some good stuff in there. Had a lot of good chats. There's a lot happening in the industry right now really quickly. So these episodes are really packed. We have some new guests coming up in the next couple episodes. We have some more fun stuff.
yeah,
We're going to be bringing back Adam Contras soon. He was in a couple episodes. He was in an episode a couple back. He's
the early, not
he's a-
couple
he's
back,
a-
like
yeah,
number
one of the
2 or
early-
3.
Yeah, he's a friend of the channel, and he's a good dude. And he's got a huge project that he's working on that we're gonna talk to him about. And we're also gonna be talking about Muppets soon. We were gonna do it today, but it was a little too stacked. And also, we're gonna have a guest that did a Muppet project. So it's cool.
yes, Muppet Vision. If you haven't seen
Also,
it yet.
here's the thing: a bunch of you aren't subscribed. We have a lot of people who don't subscribe. Please subscribe. We really want to get our views up on the channel. We don't get enough views on YouTube at all. Like on the actual immersive videos, we really, really, really need more views on the immersive. We get plenty of views in the shorts. That's doing great. But the actual immersive video, we really, really, if you like this channel, if you like what we're doing here, please share it to somebody else in the immersive video community, because our views don't really reflect what we put into this. And also, we have merch. Please buy the merch. We've got Stereoscope shirts. We got Stereoscope
Mugs?
mugs. I
Mugs
think
for
the
the kids,
mug is like
balloons
actually
for the-
perfect. It's like it's very representative of us. We'll get some samples in here, and we'll show you. We'll hawk our wares.
Personally, I really like the Stereoscope logo on the mug because it has that like curved
wrap
convex, and it
yeah.
feels like the mug is 3D when you're holding it.
Yeah. Just generally, we'd love if y'all commented more, just interacted more, so we can boost the channel.
Engage.
Because here's the thing: we lose money on every single.
That's right. We're going broke, and if you'd want to save us, we're having a fire sale every
if you
day.
want-
You take a
If
picture.
you want the channel to continue, you gotta help us out a little bit, because we
Yeah.
can't. We literally, with this type of project, it requires interaction from y'all.
We can't interact with you anymore because the card is about to run out. So if you'd like the show, like or subscribe. Either one will do, preferably both.
Yeah, but for those of you who do show up, because we do on certain platforms, like on Dio, y'all watch, and we love that. And Meta TV, sometimes y'all watch.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube, we do. Here's the thing: the people that watch on the platform, they watch for a long time. Like on our YouTube metrics, it shows that the people who do watch the whole thing, and we love that.
Yeah.
We
So thanks for sticking around.
wish that more people would watch, because we think it's we're niche, but it's also, this industry is growing rapidly, and we don't just talk about immersive video. We talk about the whole general VR industry as a whole. So that being said, thank you for showing up. We appreciate it. We're working on some huge new projects over the next few months, and so if we slip a couple days past our previous timeline, like this episode, but have been incredibly busy, but we appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.